Welcome to Team 9 pitch of the Capstone team assignment. The opportunity we have undertaken is the malnutrition in children and mothers to be in India. It's a large country with 1 billion plus and growing, and also a growing economy. And therefore, because of the size and the sheer logistical challenges, this entire nutritional knowledge and therefore the onwards delivery to people on ground is so much so complex. And therefore, this whole effort is to ensure how do we deliver the entire knowledge and guidance to every household at a cheaper and effective way, thereby helping eradicate and having a strong next generation coming up in the country. The opportunity is very clearly the reduction in child mortality and therefore the school dropouts. So the essential is improvement in the health of children below between 0 to 6 years and pregnant and lactating mothers. And also the entire delivery mechanism, which is the effective coordination of the policy and the implementation of the same. So the business goal essentially is dependent on the entire engine, which we believe is on date carrying the entire nutrition proposition to the target segment that we have, and it is called the Integrated Child Development Service. And therefore we want to have a mechanism which will ensure health monitoring, delivery of complementary nutrition basis segment, the monitoring promotion, and therefore to assist the health departments to understand the whole piece. The customer therefore is the government through whom this integrated child development services is being rolled out, and secondary market is obviously of the target segment that we spoke about earlier. Assumption is that the government is completely bought into this piece and has a requisite database in place. The stakeholders is a complex piece here, and therefore the challenge of the solution itself. It is the Indian Council of Medical Research, which basically advises the children at the schools in terms of what should be the nutritional input into the children. The community, of course, the parents of the small children, and the target group of women, and the entire Anganwadi, which carries the food, and therefore the employees there, the primary healthcare center, which is basically the teachers who carry out the entire measurement mechanism, and the technical committee, essentially, who measures and then routes back the information to the ICDS in terms of the delivery of the whole mechanism. So, all put together is the opportunity to work on. So, describing the opportunity further, these are the broad contours on which the opportunity seemingly are. It's in the space of malnutrition, the age of under 5, the children are underweight, the entire government effort coming together, the cost and the investment which is required to manage, maintain, and the illiteracy and ignorance on ground. So therefore, the consolidation of the government efforts would help you reduce the cost of the program and make it more impactful. Also, a real-time solution would be required to get a sense of what is getting delivered and therefore what's its impact. And obviously, a literate population would be in the best position to understand what is best for them and take the requisite steps forward. We believe the size of the opportunity basis the entire ICDS scheme that we are targeting to bring all together is about 70 million, which includes 60 million children and 10 million women, which is about 7% of the country's population currently. We also believe that the monthly payout, which we should target from a revenue standpoint, the government should be easily be able to approve rupees 5 per month per individual on whom the entire solution is targeted to solve for, and that should accrue to about on annualized basis to about rupees 42 crores. This is obviously helped by the fact that the 30% of the population that we're targeting is already smartphone enabled, and that number is also growing. The current solution on ground through which the ICDS is delivering the nutritional aspect to the target segment, it has two parts to it. One is the Anganwadi, which delivers the food, the primary healthcare center, which does the health checks, and the informal education, which is basically giving the necessary inputs to the entire nutrition related matters to the target segment. And on the other side is the Central Technical Committee, which does the auditing, random ones, to check each of it how in terms of it's working on ground, and then reports back onto the government ICDS. So we have on one side, which ICDS is unsure about how and what is getting delivered on ground, as much as there is money allocated and the right intent being there. And on the other side, there is a general lack of understanding, awareness, and control for the target segment in terms of what is best for me. Do I know where I should be, and therefore what is the next steps? We very clearly see, as part of the service experience, two large gaps on ground, which we need to solve for. From the gaps mentioned in the service experience previously, we very clearly think that the concept to be proposed should be around an interconnected nutrient information system that consolidated all the meaningful data provided by the different stakeholders, which is the three of them, and therefore and present an holistic view of the programs and schemes which is being run on ground. We're saying the same platform would have personalized region-based nutrient information for people, which is the target segment, and therefore give them a clear sense and understanding and control of what is the nutrition which is required, and therefore what is it the requisite changes they must do for their own self. And of course, we'll play the language which they understand. This will also induce the data science algorithms on the nutrient information system so that customers get the maximum sustainable advice on calorie intake and food eaten. So we believe that it solves for the gaps in the service experience which we mentioned before this.
Here is the NPV that we have calculated for this particular project. If you see, mainly we are generating revenue from the app sales and the advertisement sales. So if you see, this is increasing over the years. And we have a basic assumption that we've taken, and that is that the government is going to pay for the platform development and the app development upfront. So given that in mind, we also know that over the years, there's going to be marketing and other supporting costs that will be incurred through the app, as well as the content creation costs that will go on. Again, it is needless to say that these costs are going to decrease over the years. So all in all, we have a positive NPV for this particular project, although minor, but still it is positive. And TCS should actually, work on this project, not because of positive NPV, but also because of the reasons that this particular app or this particular model is catering to the bottom of the pyramid. That's number one. And the experience and the knowledge, that is going to be happening over here, that can be replicated, and the same model can be applied in other developing countries. So TCS should actually go ahead and do this project.
Some of the base assumptions we have taken is that the price point of rupees 5 should be acceptable. The business stakeholders, which is all the Anganwadis, the ICDs themselves, the technical cell, all will be available for user testing once they are on board. We also believe that the adoption rate should be about 10%. And that the mobile technology will be consistent across. India is still a growing economy, so the mobile telephony is still improving, and that the data science-based algorithms that are employed to produce meaningful reports to the government will be accurate, which is the resultant.
We have rated the assumptions and ensured that small, measurable, and actionable steps are taken before we start the project. Pilot program is the quintessential fact over here. We have to ensure that we do a pilot. Also, we need to do some extensive research in the UX, the user experience department, as well as the data science department. The pilot program in itself can also help us validate that the pricing strategy, as well as the adoption rate for the app, is well in place. While we are validating our assumptions, the first part is again, the pilot program. This would require some kind of planning, and mostly it will require a lot of energy because This would be the main pointer for the go no go on the project. Uh, what we should understand over here is that we should try to build a minimum viable product or an MVP, where a small, basic, interconnected nutrient system is supposed to be developed, and that can actually validate our assumption over here. Secondly, when we're talking about UX or the data science algorithm, we need to understand that it is an illiterate people's app. These guys on the ground, they have to do a lot of workshop and research, what exactly is our existing knowledge, if there are any apps which are present, if there are any algorithms that are present. We can employ methods such as task unification and multiplication, depending on what the scenario is. Lastly, there has to be some ground level work done for marketing this app and to understand whether the app is sustainable in the Indian conditions, because we know how notorious the mobile networks in India are. So all in all, it is the pilot program that can clear a lot of doubts.